there, we're gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for our gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Defiant Jeep. Today's project is actually going to be pretty simple. We are going to install what we call limb risers on Defiant. Now, if some of you are familiar with limb risers, you know exactly what they do. Those of you that are not familiar with limb risers, what we're going to do is we're going to attach a cable system from the front of the hood to the top where the light bar is and attach a cable going forward and back in an incline position like that. Now, how it happens is if you can imagine your Jeep having cables on each side from the front, and then as it moves toward the windshield, it rises. What's going to happen is if you're driving through a wooded area and you got some tree limbs in your way, and the tree limbs is going to catch those cables, as you move forward, it's going to move those limbs out of your way, hence the term limb risers. This actually is good for your vehicle. So that when the limbs rebound, they don't smash your windshield, which is a definite plus. Jeeps go through enough windshields already. That's something that we want to prevent. Now, limb risers is something that you're probably not going to need in every region. I see it where I used to live in Florida in the Ocala Regional Park, or their wooded areas such as that. I live in Nevada, so I don't have too much of that. There is some, but not a lot like it would be on the eastern side of the country where I see it everywhere. But this is actually a very easy job, but I did do some modifications. Now, some tools that you're going to need to do this job is you're going to need a rivet gun, an Allen wrench set, and a ratchet or a box end wrench for the kit. Now, the kit I got is not a very brand. It's Borden. I got this on Amazon. And so it's pretty much a brown box, nothing huge. It wasn't expensive. I've held on to this for quite some years. In fact, I bought it when I lived in Florida, but never got around to it, or never figured I'm going to need it. But I still have it, so I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and install it. Let's give Defiant a cool new look. I got a buddy of mine in the club, Josh Joestar. Love that guy, man. He is just hilarious, and I love his Jeep. He's got a beautiful Jake here, lime green. I forgot the name of the Jeep, but I'll get you the name. But yeah, he's got a fantastic vehicle, and he's got limb risers on it. And every time I look at it, I'm like, man, it really sets it off. What a really cool look. Even though we're in the desert, what a cool look. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same. Not that I'm trying to copy him, but like I said, I've had these in storage for quite a while. Let me just go ahead and use them. I don't want to see me try to get rid of them. Eventually, one day when I retire, I might even go back out east. You know, stay with my kids, be closer to my grandson. So I'll already be prepared. But as far as the kit goes, I did get this kit from Amazon, and I will leave you the link for it in case you're interested. So it pretty much came with 2 upper brackets. It came with, where are you? 2 lower brackets. These are the ones that attach to the hood. And of course, 2 cables. It came with 2 tension adjusters. And of course, all the needed hardware, which would have been screws, washers, nylock nuts, and a bunch of rivets. Now, I went in a different direction. The upper portion, this one right here, is supposed to be riveted on the inside of the A-pillar. It wouldn't even interfere with your door. I've already tested it on someone else's Jeep. It would not even interfere with your door, so it would be perfect. The problem is, Defiant's got that big light bar in the way. That means that the brackets is really what's in the way of this. So I decided to go in another direction. So I'll tell you what, let me show you the direction I decided to go in, and you can get an idea how I'm going to mount this. In fact, this is a very neat idea, and I'll talk about it more in a second. Alrighty, let's take a look at the fire real quick, and I'm going to bring this bracket with me. So you can see the hood on this side isn't touched. You know, everything is normal on that bracket. Now, what the instructions want you to do is take this bracket, locate it right here, of course as tight as you can, mark it where mark it where you're gonna make your holes or whatnot, but you can see that this bracket is in my way. So I decided to go in another direction after looking at all of my fixtures, and I said, what if I mount it up here? This would actually look cool. It would kind of blend with the bracket, I think, and it'd be all right. So I did go in that direction. I went ahead and I marked my locations. I already drilled my holes, you know, and that's the only modification I had to do is up here. The one thing I would say that if you are going to do this and follow this suit, be very careful as you drill. Don't go too far because you are going to hit the windshield fixture or around the window frame, not the windshield itself, but you are going to hit the frame. And I went ahead and I did it on the passenger side already, just to give us an idea what it's going to look like. So this would be the passenger side, the hood mount bracket, which just goes under the hood hinge, and passenger side on the top. That's what it'll look like. Very clean. I went to the local Home Depot and I got some other fasteners after I did my drilling and I measured the holes. You know, let me take a step back for a second. It kind of looks like it all blends, you know, depending on the angle you look at it, but it's not bad. You may question your judgment after a little while, but you know, it's something for me is acceptable. It's not the best, but it is acceptable. And of course, as I shown earlier, the one on the hood of the front, how it's the bracket itself is sandwiched in between the hood and the hood hinge. That's just the way it is. That's how they all look. Okay, so now I had mentioned earlier that after I did my drilling, I went to the hardware store after measuring the holes, and the holes are still tiny, and trying to consider what size the rivet is that was provided. So what I did was when I placed my bracket where I wanted it, I got a Sharpie with a very fine point and I made my circle marks where I wanted. And then from there, I took this, I don't know what you call this, spring-loaded center punch, but I just, you know, found the center of my markings, punched it several times. I made 3 holes on each side. Then I drilled them out. And then I have one of those tools for measuring the diameter and the thread pitch of nuts and bolts. So I use that to gauge my hole. So my hole is actually an M4, which I guess would be a 4mm. So I did that. I got it didn't spend a whole gang of money, you know. It's just 6 of those little bolts with an Allen head. I really wanted to find Torx to keep everything torque themed the way Jeep does it, but I found Allens. I didn't want to go with Phillips or the combination of Phillips with a big old slot for a flat screwdriver. That would have been, I don't know, too generic. I think I want to keep a cool looking bolt. But I did find the bolts in black, and even though the heads are Allen, it still works pretty good, and they're black and they blend. You can't even see them. So I went ahead and I got 6 of those bolts, 6 nylock nuts, and some washers to accommodate the fasteners, and they all worked out well. So the drilling's already done on that side. Passenger side's already done. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, as far as the tool goes, because I went with the bolt in such a crazy position that it's in, you know, something like this, it would be a whole lot easier if you dismounted the light bar and the brackets from where they're mounted, just because of its position and how long a drill bit can be. Even though you try and make it as short as possible, and you try and control it with your arms and your hand as you're hitting that trigger, but as soon as you break through the steel and you go too far, as I mentioned, you're going to go ahead and scratch the window frame. And, you know, it's going to be behind the bracket, but nonetheless, you know, you've already scratched the paint, probably chipped it off, you know, but you don't want it to prematurely rust. And now that I mentioned that, anytime you finish drilling a hole, because you are on steel, go ahead and just give it some kind of top coat, you know, whether it be a little bit of primer or something to cover the bare metal so it doesn't prematurely rust. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I have the weirdest size nut that I got from Home Depot, which is a 7mm wrench, which is not too common. I mean, it's not part of my toolbox. I don't have a 7mm wrench, so I had to go find one. Of course, Home Depot, single wrench, $5. All right, I'm done. That's good. What brand is it? It's a Husky wrench. It's all right. You know, I don't care. I mean, how many times am I going to use a 7mm? It's too small. So I'm still going to use that 7mm. I am going to use this needle nose because the washers and the nylock nuts are so small, and in a congested area where that's at, I'm gonna do like the jewelers do, where I'll use this plier to hold it for me, and I'm gonna, you know, try and tighten up these fasteners as best I can. Let me see, and this is for the cable, and of course the Allen wrench for the bolt. What other tools do I need? I think I'm golden, so I'm gonna go in that route. I don't need my rivet gun. I pulled it out. In fact, it's a new rivet gun. I was going to be happy to use it, but it's not in use today. So there's going to be another first use some other time. Alrighty, so let me go ahead and, yeah, I think I got everything under control here. Let me go ahead and get everything done. We're just going to go ahead and mount up that bracket. And then we're going to open the hood and we're going to mount the lower bracket. And then once that's all set and everything's spaced out the way it's supposed to be, we're going to go ahead and install the cable, do the tension on it, and we're done. So let me go ahead and grab my tools and let's get on over there. Alrighty, so I got my needle nose, I got my Allen wrench, and I got all my fasteners and washers. Oh, shucks, I'm a dork. I forgot the important part, the bracket. Let's go grab it real quick. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and grab a bolt and a washer. Alrighty, that bracket is now installed. We are ready to move forward. It's actually very tight. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere for a long time. Let's go ahead and, ooh, where's my thing? I'm gonna put it in my pocket. All right, okay, I'm good. Let's go ahead and move to the hood. Let's go ahead and install that one bracket, and we're almost done. All right, so at the front of the vehicle, we're gonna go ahead and first let's open the hood. I'm gonna pull the pins. Grab the other side. And let's go ahead and prop the hood open. Alrighty, so with the hood open, we're only gonna mess with the top part of the hinge, the actual hook, which is only 2 bolts. Considering the kind of hood latches you may have, you may want to consider getting longer bolts, because the bolts that this kit came with are, I believe, the length if you have factory hood latches. In my case, I have aftermarket latches, and the thickness of this bracket is about a 1/4 inch thicker. So I would consider, you know, just to keep it on the top of your mind or the back of your mind, however you want to treat it, instead of using the bolts that came with this kit, go to the hardware store, spend $2-3 and get 4 bolts that are about a 1/4 inch longer than the ones you have now. That'll definitely accommodate here. But I guess on a basic minimal rule of thumb, as long as you can get 5 complete 360s on a bolt, you should be okay. And I'm still using these. I would probably feel better if I had longer ones, but I did get 5 complete turns out of the ones on the passenger side. So right now I'm still comfortable with it. So let's go ahead and loosen these up. Let me go ahead and grab that bracket and we'll get this installed. All right, that's here. And there's the bolt. All right, so now it's completely out. Now to clean it up a little bit, get all the dust off of there. As long as you put it right together, just make it presentable, right? Okay, so this is pretty much it. You're gonna take this bracket, you're gonna take your hook, you're gonna put it in front, and then bolt it and sandwich it on back on there like that. So this is gonna be a trial and error thing, not necessarily because you don't know how to bolt it or mount it, but it's one of those you have to realign your hook with the latch itself and make sure that the distance is correct for the appropriate tension, gap between the hood and the body, that kind of thing. So you know, just take your time on it. It's not one of those that's gonna make or break the bank if you take a little extra time. That is not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. So let's go ahead and then I'll put my Allen wrench on there. And as always, when I do it manually with these type of Allen wrenches, I always use the type that's got a ball end on the long side. The ball end itself acts as a swivel, so you don't have to necessarily be a little bit straight or 100% straight on there. You can be a little off, like cocked off a little bit, and as the swivel ball takes advantage of all the surfaces it makes contact with, it still makes 100% contact with the fastener, and you can still tighten it up. So I still feel I'm good to go. Still not catching. So let's give this a moment. We're gonna find out why it's not catching threads. Aside that, I still feel that this is too short. Got to be at least a 1/4 inch longer. I think I got it. Alrighty. I'm pretty sure I got it. I got some threading started on here. So this is the part where we're going to measure so we can get it straight so we can tie up this latch and be done with it. Let me see. I'm going to have to tighten that up. I'll do that later. Let's go ahead and get this all adjusted. And what we're looking for here is we really want to make sure. Oops, still not it. Come on. Oh, I'm a dork. Look what I did. Let's get that guy out of there. And what we're looking for is to make sure that the hook is straight. We want it to catch appropriately. We want the pin to line up with the hole. That shit looks good. Yeah, that looks good. The hook is straight, so we're in a good spot. We can just go ahead and tighten it up and call it a day. Well, hang in there. Looks like the threads didn't catch on this little thing. So my suggestion, I still feel is correct. With aftermarket hinges, get longer bolts, at least 1/4 inch longer, so you can catch some good thread. We're gonna try and make this work. Alrighty. I feel super silly. I dropped the nut in the bolt and I had to find it. Luckily I did. Looks like I'm gonna be going to a hardware store anyways just to get longer bolts, because I don't know how the passenger side was so much easier to put on. It could be my angle, it could be I'm super tired. I've done so many things today. Besides this, I've been running errands and blah blah blah. Those of y'all that's married, you get it. You know, you get told what to do. They don't ask you anymore. They just tell you, hey, go get this done. And I go get her done. All right, so let's try and do this one more time. Alrighty, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. See if I catch this. I'll be with you in a second. Alrighty, after taking that long break that we sure did, you can obviously tell that my scenery is a little different here. The lighting, everything, my shirt, of course. It has been a couple days since trying to figure out what happened with the cord or the wire. What's going on is I went ahead and I changed the math of the engineering. And what I mean by that is when I showed you earlier where the bracket was originally supposed to be riveted to the inside of the window frame, since I decided to relocate it to my light bar bracket frame, it changed the math of the engineering, which made this steel cable too long. So in a little bit of a quest, trying to find the right length cable or something acceptable, the cable that I have that came with my kit, there's about 52 and a half inches. And it was too long, so I'm trying to find, I don't know, a 45-inch cable. Still couldn't find one. I think the next shortest one I could find was 39 inches, and that's this cable in my hand right now. And as you know, my kit came with this turnbuckle. So, for some stupid redneck idea in my mind, I said, let me get another turnbuckle, and that's what I did. This one's actually got T-toggles on it, but that's neither here nor there. It's just nice to have. These are marine-grade stainless steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to actually make this system work. The only advantage to this is that it's adjustable now from both sides. Now having turnbuckles on each end really is overkill, but at the same time it's fully adjustable. And hey, at the end of the day, I'll be unique to anybody else who's got limb risers, but there's not too many of us in Vegas. I'm just, you know, it's something neat. Like I mentioned before, my buddy's got one. It looks super cool. It's like the only other one in Vegas. And since most of you know that I am from Florida, and we are used to the swampy marsh, so we do get that. Figure why not? If and when I ever decide to visit Florida, be a little bit more ready. So the project really now is super near completion. So all we're gonna do is take one end, and I'm gonna use the side with the T-toggles. I'm gonna put it on the top bracket by the light or the light bar. I'm gonna run this down along the hood, and this side is gonna be mounted to the bracket at the front of the hood. And then from there, we're already done. Now, one side's already done. I don't know if you can see it from your angle. You're probably not, but it is complete. So we just gotta go ahead and put this in, and we're about done. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's finish our project. Alrighty, since we're actually here at the top now, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our turnbuckle, and it's got this keyring looking retainer on it on this pin. So we're going to remove this and put it in this hole right here. We're going to slide the pin in and then put the ring back so it can lock into place. And that's really all it is. Now I may have to do some adjustments on this. I got this as close as possible to its counterpart on the passenger side, but if I have to make any adjustment, it's all 100%. And like I said, we are about done. So let's go ahead and get this fella installed. Alrighty, with the ring installed and the pin locked into place, we are now ready to move forward to the front of the hood, where we're going to install the other part. So let's mosey on down there, and we're going to get this done. Alrighty, now at the front of the hood, we can go ahead and bring the cable over, and you can see that it's almost a dead match. It's going to be a bit loose on there, but that's okay. That's why we're going to adjust it. So we're going to do the same on this side. We are going to go ahead and remove the retaining ring. this is actually easier. We're going to remove the set pin, put that in place, the assembly, and then we're going to put this ring back where it belongs if I can find the hole. All right, guys, don't laugh. I know I said it. Oh, I just dropped my. There we go. And she is in. All right, so now you can see there's some slack in this cable right here. As a matter of fact, let's change our shot for a second. All right, so after the actual physical installation is complete, you can still see that we got some slack in our line, and that's an easy fix, and that's the advantage of the turnbuckle. So what we're going to do is we are going to grab a wrench, because you have what do they call these? What do you call these nuts when you jam nuts? I'm sorry, there you go. You got jam nuts on either side to lock it in place. Now this is what they call a solid turnbuckle, and the only access point is a hole that's got here on the side. So we're going to find something that fits there, and it could be a narrow screwdriver, something very strong. You can use like a really tough punch, or in my case, I'm using an Allen wrench, which is of a good diameter. It's going to fit there, and the Allen wrench is strong enough just to loosen these jam nuts, because they're not super tight. You're not going to, put the entire force of He-Man on your shoulder to tighten this up. So let's just do that. We're going to use the Allen wrench and the set pin just to hold this in place as we loosen the jam nuts. And I got two different size wrenches because the two turnbuckles that I'm using are two different manufacturers. So we're going to give this a couple spins just to loosen up that jam nut. Let's take a look at the threading here. So what we want to do is give this a spin. You have a left and a right threading on there, so as you spin it, it's either going to contract it or expand it. So let's take a look at that real quick. And it looks like, I want to bring it towards me. Let me see if my theory is correct. Yes, it's already tightening up. So, and this is like super easy, as I've done. You don't want to go super massive on it. Just give it enough so it's tight on here, but you don't pull the assembly off of your hood. And I am so OCD, I know I'm going to check the other side of my hood as well, make sure it's all up to par. But just for argument's sake, let's put it there for now. Almost happy with that. Let me check the other side of the hood. Now what I'm doing on either side of the hood is I'm actually checking the jounce of the wire. It feels about the same. Now, like I said, I'm in Vegas. I'm not in dire need of these being 100%. Few and far in between will I come across a limb that's actually going to hurt me. So right now, if I leave them slightly loose, it's going to be fine. It's not going to hurt anything. There you go. Feel good. We're going to use our Allen wrench again as a handle to keep it in place. Use my larger wrench. Was it a smaller one? I don't remember. Right. Give that a nice toggle. And let's tighten this one also. And there you are. Let's give that a look around real quick. Alright, so starting from the driver's side, we have our turnbuckle, our 39-inch cable that I found on Amazon. I'll leave you a link if you want it. The other turnbuckle, actually this is the one I found on Amazon. This is the one that came with the kit. Let's roll back up here. And of course I tied to my bracket. Originally it should have been on the inside of that, but as I showed you before, it's going to hit this bracket. That's why I changed the design, and then of course changed the math and the engineering of it. Let's take a look at the other side. It's pretty much the same, just the opposite side. Turnbuckle that came with the kit, the cable that we reacquired, the other turnbuckle we reacquired, and the bracket. All looking good. Alrighty folks, and there you have it. One limb riser kit installed, well, more of a makeshift homemade limb riser kit, using part of something else that happened, and the rest I had to just hunt for parts and make it work, but I am making it work. And I'm not to pat myself on the back kind of guy, but yay for me, I got it done. Super excited about it. When I wouldn't test it, I actually want to find a wooded area where I can just run into something, but like I said, I'm in Vegas, man. I'm not going to find anything like that around here. So eventually it'll come around. But you know, maybe at lunchtime it's something somebody talks about. But I hope you found this video educational and entertaining. I hope I showed you something neat, new, and exciting. If you're interested in the kit, the way it comes, I'll leave you a link in the description below. Don't forget to visit us at www.defiantjeep.com, where you can find all of your Jeep performance accessories, camping gear, and other merch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to all of our social platforms. And of course, visit us at www.defiant. I screwed that one up. www.desertwranglers.club. We love to see you on the trail.